second chance. Biblical wisdom for today's lesson. Then Joshua secretly sent out 2 spies from the Israelite camp at Acacia Grove. He instructed them, "Scout out the land on the other side of the Jordan River, especially around Jericho." So the 2 men set out and came to the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there that night. Joshua 2 verse 1. The Lord now said to Moses, "Send out men to explore the land of Canaan, the land I am giving to the Israelites. Send 1 leader from each of the 12 ancestral tribes." After exploring the land for 40 days, the men returned to Moses, Aaron, and the whole community of Israel at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. They reported to the whole community what they had seen and showed them the fruit they had taken from the land. This was their report to Moses. "We entered the land you sent us to explore, and it is indeed a bountiful country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here is the kind of fruit it produces, but the people living there are powerful, and their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Next to them we felt like grasshoppers, and that's what they thought too." Numbers 13 verses 1, 2, 25 to 28 and 33. Then the whole community began weeping aloud, and they cried all night. Their voices rose in a great chorus of protest against Moses and Aaron. "If only we had died in Egypt, or even here in the wilderness," they complained. "Why is the Lord taking us to this country only to have us die in battle? Our wives and our little ones will be carried off as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt?" Then they plotted among themselves, "Let's choose a new leader and go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground before the whole community of Israel. 2 of the men who had explored the land, Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, tore their clothing. They said to all the people of Israel, "The land we traveled through and explored is a wonderful land. And if the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us safely into that land and give it to us. It is a rich land flowing with milk and honey. Do not rebel against the Lord, and don't be afraid of the people of the land. They are only helpless prey to us. They have no protection, but the Lord is with us. Don't be afraid of them." But the whole community began to talk about stoning Joshua and Caleb. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to all the Israelites at the tabernacle. And the Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? Will they never believe me, even after all the miraculous signs I have done among them? I will disown them and destroy them with a plague. Then I will make you into a nation greater and mightier than they are." Numbers 14 verses 1 to 12. Why would Joshua start the mission of conquering the promised land by sending out spies? The place from which the 2 spies are sent out, Acacia Grove, Joshua 2 verse 1, is called Shittim in the Hebrew text, and it reminds us of 2 negative episodes of Israel's history. The first is another spy story, see Numbers 13, featuring the same essential elements: the commissioning of the spies, the secret incursion of the spies into enemy territory, the return of the spies, the report of the spies on their findings, and the decision to act based on the report. The other incident at Shittim represents one of the most defiant idolatrous violations of the covenant by the Israelites, when at the instigation of Balaam, they committed a debauchery with the Moabite women and worshipped their gods. Numbers 25 verses 1 to 3 and Numbers 31 verse 16. In this context, the name Shittim creates an extraordinary tension as to the outcome of the whole story. Will it be another failure on the border of the Promised Land? Or will it lead to the long-awaited fulfillment of the ancient promise? Peter had to stay outside the gate. Then the disciple who knew the high priest spoke to the woman watching at the gate, and she let Peter in. The woman asked Peter, "You're not one of that man's disciples, are you?" "No," he said, "I am not." Because it was cold, the household servants and the guards had made a charcoal fire. They stood around it, warming themselves, and Peter stood with them, warming himself. Meanwhile, as Simon Peter was standing by the fire warming himself, they asked him again, "You're not one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it, saying, "No, I am not." But one of the household slaves of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, asked, "Didn't I see you out there in the olive grove with Jesus?" Again, Peter denied it, and immediately a rooster crowed. John 18 verses 16 to 18 and 25 to 27. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," Peter replied. "You know I love you." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord," Peter said, "you know I love you." "Then take care of my sheep," Jesus said. A third time he asked him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question a third time. He said, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep. I tell you the truth. When you were young, you were able to do as you liked. You dressed yourself and went wherever you wanted to go. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and others will dress you and take you where you don't want to go." Jesus said this to let him know by what kind of death he would glorify God. Then Jesus told him, "Follow me." John 21, verses 15 to 19. What parallels do you discover between the second chance given to Israel as a nation and to Peter as a person? God is a God of second chances and more. The Bible calls the second chance and more grace. Grace is simply receiving what we don't deserve. The teaching of the Bible is replete with the concept of grace. Compare with Romans 5, verse 2, Ephesians 2, verse 8, and Romans 11, verse 6. God graciously offers everyone the possibility of a fresh start. Titus 2, verses 11 to 14. Peter himself experienced this grace and urged the church to grow in grace. 2 Peter 3, verse 18. And the news gets even better. We get much more than a second chance, don't we? Where would we be if we didn't? Think about the experience of the Israelites when they were given a second chance to enter Canaan, and about the grace extended to Peter after he denied his Lord. What should these incidents teach us about how we should extend grace to those who need it?